Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
So, as I said in my email, this is your class. So, if you have questions, if you'd like to present something, or if you'd like to talk about a success that you've had using core movement integration, please speak up.
I'd like to start by presenting, if I can.
Yes.
Sure.
I was going to do quadruped, but I had a really nasty fall, and my whole
Oh,
right upper extremity, like delts and upper bicep and hand and wrist, is even to do it on the back of a chair, the sustained positioning doesn't work. So,
so
um,
sorry. Oh,
uh, it was super late at night. I was walking the dogs and I'd been so careful and I knew where to walk, but I was listening to a book on tape and not paying attention. And all of a sudden I slammed down and I guess I cried out because my one dog like rushed over to
Ah,
me and
oh,
I was stunned. I couldn't move for a bit.
oh,
And then he stuck his little head in my ribs. And I was like, okay. First thing I thought was, okay, the phone is on my left side. I can reach that. And the second thing was my stupid watch didn't go off. My Apple
oh,
Watch that's supposed to go off when you fall.
oh, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it
oh,
did
oh,
not.
oh, oh.
Okay. That said, uh, here's Deb. That said, I would like to do wall walking or to try to do wall walking. Okay.
Okay.
I've been playing around with this.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not going to do it because my wall is there and my screen to see everybody is over here. So we can put Kimmy as the test subject and we'll see if my directions are clear.
Okay.
Does that
Great.
sound all right?
Let's see. I need a wall, though, right?
You need a wall, or if you'd rather me do it with somebody else like Louise or Nancy or Claire, whoever has a wall.
I have a
I
piece of wall right here.
okay, let's spotlight Louise then.
Is
And
that big
then
enough?
yeah, it's you just need to be able to place your feet flat on the wall, both feet.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to be
Eh,
lying down.
You're going to be on your back. Yeah.
Oh, on the back. Okay, so let
No
me
sh
change.
no showgirl kicks.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to just change my video setting
Well,
to
I
so you
just
can
spotlighted you for.
Sorry. Do
see
we
me.
do we all follow your instructions? This-
Yes, please. I will be leading the first lesson.
Okay.
So before everybody gets on the floor, um, we're going to stand up and do the test moves. But you can get whatever you need on the floor next to whatever wall you're going to practice on. Is everybody ready for the test moves?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stand and notice how your weight is distributed through your feet. More weight on your heels or the balls of your feet. Do you feel upright? How's your breathing? So first, turn your head to the right and then back through the center and to the left. And do that again to the right and back to the left. When you come back to the middle, let's do shoulder to ear, whichever side you care to. And then ear to shoulder. Sorry, I said that wrong. And again, ear to shoulder and ear to shoulder. And come back to standing. First, turn to the right with your arms by your side, and then back to the middle, and then to the left, And do that again. And what can you see behind you? And what are your knees doing? And when you come back to center, hold one arm out in front of you, palm up, and turn to the right, or whichever arm is up, and back to center. And again, same direction. And then let's do the same thing with your other hand. Palm up, turn in the direction of the arm that's up, come back to center, and turn one more time. Okay, so now let's get on the floor and I will give you your positioning.
Do we need to be next to the wall here?
You need to be next to the wall because your feet are going to go up on the wall.
Okay.
I'm going to try it myself for a little bit. If I can't see, I will get up. All right, so when you lay down, put your feet on the wall and make sure that your hips are not directly under your knees. So your butt will be a little farther away. That looks good, Louise. And then your feet on the wall should be higher than 90 degrees. We're not doing any 90-degree angles here. So you should easily be able to see your feet and get into a position that's comfortable. You may have to adjust a little closer, a little farther away, feet a little higher or a little lower. So start with your hands on the front of your pelvis. Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I just had to.
That's okay.
It's too bright. It was shining bright in my eyes. Sorry.
Start with your hands on the front of your pelvis, on the front of your hip bones, your ASISs. And bend your ankles so that your toes are moving towards your head. They're coming away from the wall. And then go flat back to the wall. And do this a few times. So your toes are moving towards your head in dorsiflexion and returning flat to the wall. And see if you feel any changes in your pelvis. Is your pelvis moving when you do this? And what is that movement? Does the weight on your heels help your spine to relax into the floor, to lengthen your back? And does your pelvis roll forward or backwards when you do this? And do this 1 or 2 more times. And just feel what's going on. And after you complete this movement, just let your feet rest flat on the wall. And now what I'd like you to do is lift your heels away from the wall so you're on your toes, the balls of your feet, and then return them to your starting position with your heels flat. So you're lifting your heels away from the wall and bringing them back to the wall. And just do this several times. And notice what's going on in your back, what's going on in your pelvis. This movement, this lifting of the heel that happens when you're putting the weight on the balls of your feet and your toes Does your back want to arch, create that nice curve, create a space between your low back and the floor? And how is your pelvis moving? How is your pelvis moving? And then just let your feet rest flat on the wall. And then let's do both of these movements together. So first, bring your toes off the wall towards your head, and then back, and then lift your heels, and then back. And as you bring your toes towards your head, can you tell which pathway you're in? And as you lift your heels away from the wall, can you tell which pathway you're in? When your heels lift, your front lengthens and your lower back arches. And that should be pathway 1. And when your toes are coming towards your head, your back lengthens and gets flatter. And that's path 2. And notice if your head wants to move while you're going through these pathways. And do this 1 or 2 more times. And then you can either leave your feet flat on the wall or you can bring them down on the floor to rest for a second, whatever you're comfortable with. And when you're ready, let's bring these feet back up onto the wall in neutral position, flat on the wall. And I'd like you to make one leg active, and it doesn't matter which it is. I'm going to use my right. So with your active leg, shift the weight to the front of your toes. Your heel can lift a little bit. And just bring the weight to the front of your toes and then put your heel back flat on the floor. And put your hands on your pelvis when you do this, on the front of your pelvis. And what's happening on that side with that hip bone when you bring the weight to the front of your foot, to the ball of your foot, and then back flat on the wall? Do you feel a movement? As you bring your weight to the front of your foot, can you feel that your pelvis is shifting forward, but also down a little bit? And staying on that same active leg, now just roll your weight to the heel. So you're lifting your toes away from the wall towards your head, and then bringing your heel flat, foot flat back to the wall. So weight through the heel, toes move away towards your head, and then your foot returns flat on the wall. And repeat this and notice if you feel anything in your pelvis. And what's happening on the side of that active leg? What's happening in your back? Is it lengthening? Is it making more contact with the floor when you do that? Now I'd like you to keep that same leg active, but put both hands on your hips if you don't have them there already. And repeat that movement. Heel coming away on the active leg, the weight going through the ball of your foot, and then heel coming down towards the wall and the front of your foot lifting up. And as you repeat that movement, what's happening on the passive leg? What's happening with that hip? What's the pelvis doing? Is it moving the same way, or is it moving differently than your active leg? When you roll your heel on the active side, the pelvis might be moving in the opposite direction. So as you put your weight through your heel on your active leg, and that side of your pelvis rolls backwards and down, the non-active leg, the inactive leg, the pelvis might move a little forward and down. And do that 2 or 3 more times. And then just rest. You can keep your feet on the wall, or you can put them flat on the floor if you like. And for the last part of this lesson, we're gonna move both legs opposite, like we're walking. So you'll have an active leg that becomes an inactive leg, and an inactive leg that becomes an active leg. So put your feet back up on the wall, knees above 90 degrees, hips above 90 degrees. Lift, pick a leg, let your toes come back towards your head, and then flat on the wall, and then push down through that same leg, the ball of your feet, and then toes up, toes down. And as you do that, the other leg, which really isn't active, does it want to move? When you push the ball of your foot down on your active leg, does that heel on the inactive leg want to come up? Does it want to leave the wall a little bit at any point when you're on the ball of your foot on the active leg? And now, with your active leg, ball of the foot down. Hold on a minute, sorry. With your active leg, the ball of the foot down, let that other heel lift away from the wall. And pull your toes up on that foot and let the heel hit the wall. And repeat this movement on both sides. And can you make the movement so that one leg floats up, the active leg becomes inactive, and it just wants to float away from the wall? And you bring the heel down and the other leg comes up and the toes roll back And then you heel strike and the foot comes down flat and the heel lifts. And just do that on both sides. See if you can find a rhythm. Are you walking? Is one leg at a time able to float off the wall, even just a little bit? And when you're ready, just stop the movement. And bring your feet down. And when you're ready to stand up, let's stand. And just stand for a second and check in. Feel how your weight is distributed on your feet. Does your center of gravity feel the same? Does the position of your head on your neck feel different? And how about your breath? And then turn your head to the right and to the left. And repeat that again to the right and to the left. And then bring your ear towards your right shoulder and then back up. And your left shoulder and back up. And repeat that again. And then with your arms by your side, turn and look behind you and notice if your field of vision is any different and what's going on in your knees and your pelvis and your spine. And then hold up an arm with your palm out and turn in whatever direction that arm is. And come back to center. And then do it again. And let's do the same thing. Palm up on your other arm and turn in that direction, looking behind you. And come back to center. And one more time. And then that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, December. I
Quite
recognize
welcome.
your fascination for walking. Your inquiry, I should say.
My
Your walking.
inquiry. I feel I did pretty good till I got both feet going, and then I felt like my directions probably weren't as clear as they could be, but that's something I could walk on. And what I didn't talk about is how many pathways were we actually in doing that? I talked about 1 and 2, right? But right, we were in 3 and 4 also with the hips, the differentiation of the hips. So I really like that because I think, and correct me if I'm mistaken, Deb and Kimi, but I think for Joseph, developing CMI had a big component of that was walking.
Mhm.
So for me, it was kind of like a return to the beginning, but in a different way. And you can do that sitting, and you can also do that with your like lying on your back with your knees up and your feet flat on the floor. But I wasn't sure that if I said pick one of these positions, I don't think the directions I gave would work in the other 2 positions. Like I would have to think about, because when you're sitting, it's more like your knee is moving down or forward. It's not so much the ankle. So I would have to think about how I would redo that if I said, pick a position and we're going to do this lesson. And that might be something interesting to think about for all of us. Like what would be the easiest lesson to teach someone where they got to pick the position?
Mhm.
And that's all I got, peeps.
I think that you could lead the exercise in sitting from the ankle, from the foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But not flat with your knees bent. I think if I could do it in sitting, it might work for all three positions.
I think it would.
I'll have to try
You can try it out on us.
that.
I thought you gave I liked the way you gave the directions. I thought they were very clear, and I thought you gave us, you really helped us think about what we were moving and help us explore that. I thought you did that very, very consistently, which was useful for trying this. Thank you,
Thank you.
December.
Thank you. I try this lesson, I tried to kind of aim at a layperson level.
Mhm.
I didn't, obviously, all of us know the lingo, we know what we're doing. But I think it's important for me when I'm teaching something, I have to understand the basics. I have to make sure that the basics are clear before I can build on that.
I thought the language worked really well. I really did.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something. Thank you, December. It was also super detailed. You really took the time to get into all the little moves. It's just one thing that to me was not, because you kept saying, if we go in path 3 or path 2, like to lift the toes towards the head. And to me, that doesn't do it. It's only if you pick up actually the toes and the balls of the feet, then you start the movement traveling. But if you lift only the toes, it doesn't do anything to the body.
All right, wait, I want to make sure I understand this.
Yeah.
So if your foot is flat,
yeah,
and I say go on your heel,
no,
it's the other one.
but you keep saying lift your toes towards your head, but you can lift your toes towards your head and nothing happens.
So if your foot is like this, and I say lift your toes towards your head.
Yeah, but then your whole hand is moving now, not just the toes.
So if my foot is flat on, oh my God, my hamstrings are screaming, and I bring if this is the wall, if this is the wall, and I go like that, and the balls of your toes and the balls of your foot do come away from the wall. The only thing in contact with the wall is your heel.
But you're not lifting only the toes. It's more a sense of direction. Then the toes are pointing towards your head.
Right.
But lifting the toes from the wall doesn't mean the foot is, you see what I mean? You can just lift the toes and nothing will move in the foot.
Yeah. So if
I think it's a sense of direction, or
So if I said lift your toes and the ball of your foot.
Yeah, let the balls of the feet get off, as much as it's needed, or
you can say lift the front of your foot.
Exactly. But only
if you say just the toes, it's not, people could interpret that differently.
Yeah.
And the front of the foot fits with the front lengthening for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I really enjoyed your pace, December. You just plenty of breath, and spaciousness, and for me, you were guiding it in such a way that I could actually find my own pace, and it kind of worked. I didn't feel like I was driven to go too fast or too slow. I really noticed the difference in my connection on the left side. And I've been working a lot with, in yoga, there's a kind of connection, pubic bone to big toe, heel to sit bone. And so having the hands on the pelvis was helpful to sense into that, to see what was happening. And on my left side, I definitely have a weak connection there. What was interesting to me was when we started doing what I call the mid-air walk. So one ball down and then heel down on the other foot, like you're in the middle of a step. And
Right.
when we do this in standing, actually it's about balance, because if the back foot is too far engaged, then we fall forward. If the front is too far, we fall back. And at the wall, what I was finding is that I was kind of not sure where the rest of my spine should be going. And so I kind of just went with it. Like when I'm in the midair walk, actually my spine should be staying pretty quiet. That's kind of what I was feeling, was that there was less movement when I was just alternating the sides. There was less movement in the spine. So I'm curious to know how that feels for other people.
Yeah, right. Because when you're standing, you need to balance too. It feels like you're balancing. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the natural thing that happens in walking, so that we don't kind of, fall forward or fall back, I think. But I was kind of caught there because you had me in the feet at the wall. I was like, oh, wait, what's happening in my spine? I was like, well, not a lot.
Well, I think too, obviously, when you're on the floor, it is different. And with your legs on the wall, you're supported, you're stable. And one of the things that when I practiced this, before I taught it, is something that you said was quite important. Like you have to, in my opinion, kind of find your groove in it. And because we have all been doing this work for a while, I think it's super easy to do that once you can. I mean, it's not, sometimes I do a lesson and I think, oh, it's so easy. And then I'll go back and do it and I'm struggling with parts of it. So I think that if you can find that groove a little bit, because we've talked about this before, walking is not just path 1 and 2, you do 3 and 4. And, some people, I think Vivian and I talk about like 5 and 6, we throw in that little hip switch. So we know your spine moves, right? But I also think with balance and maybe someone that does yoga and maybe even some runners, I think there's that propensity. You've got that strong core muscle that's kind of holding you. And I could be totally wrong about that. So if you were to do this again, like maybe check in on your breathing while you're doing it. Maybe that'll give you some space to relax and maybe make that spinal movement clearer. And maybe your spine in walking doesn't move as much as somebody else's might.
So if you have one foot in path 1 and one foot in path 2, I guess which foot should the spine follow?
Well, I'm going to give that question to Kimmy because I think it depends where you are in the step, right? So right
so
now,
it's continuous, basically. Yeah.
right now, if I'm standing, all right, let's see if I can
I
show
think it's
my
important
feet.
to move the arms as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we weren't really doing that. The arms were just kind of on the hips, right? So if I have heel and I'm coming up and I'm going to stand closer to the wall so I don't fall. So if I get the heel down, toes up on my left, and my right leg comes up and I heel strike and come down, and my left heel comes up and floats and my toes come up. I mean, I definitely feel a little rotation in my spine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how the spine moves. It's rotating. It's
Yes.
not
Rotating. It's rotating.
It's not flexing or extending.
It's more rotating, yes.
But you still get that uplift, right?
Yeah,
That's
because
the whole
rotation
point.
is the way you get up. It's the best way to get uplift.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I had an interesting thing happen at the very beginning of the lesson. I think that December had us lift our toes away from the wall first, and that put us into path 2 on that side. And when you first changed to lifting up your heel instead of lifting your toes, I still went into path 2. And I know that happens, that can happen with clients very easily, that when they lift their heel, they still go into path 2.
So how
And
do you
that
think?
is why I suggested I added doing this exercise with the legs straight. Because when you do it with the legs straight, it's much less likely that people will continue to go into path 2 when they bring their heels up.
I find also that I can go into path 2 when I come on the ball of the feet. I don't have as much connection at the top of the spine in path 1 in this exercise. In path 2, it comes with. In path 1, not always.
Uh-huh.
Well, sometimes for me, when I'm getting confused, I just have to go back to the pelvic movement, path 1 and path 2, and then
Sure.
let it travel to see. Like,
Uh-huh.
so I'm only concentrating kind of through my hips, so like this is path 1, this is path 2, and I'm rocking, on my feet, but I'm concentrating on
Okay,
what
and
I'm feeling.
when you're rocking on your feet, you're going in onto the front of your foot and the back of your foot.
Right. So I'm on my left leg. Whoa, my left leg, I'm on the front of my foot. My right heel is lifted. Now I'm on my right heel, and the toes on my left foot are lifted. Right.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is I have to check in with the pelvis and let it connect from there sometimes, Louise,
Right.
because I have like weird sensory proprioception stuff. I'm good on proprioception, but like to ID the movement. Sometimes I have to stop what I'm doing and get clear and
Uh-huh.
then just follow it.
Yeah. So when you're standing and you're moving both feet into either on the toe toward the toes or toward the heels, then you're doing the same thing that you would do if you were lying down with your legs out straight.
Right.
And that makes the movement of the pelvis much more direct, I think, than when the knees are bent.
Okay. Because you're getting all that feedback from
Yeah.
the floor and it's stopping you. You can roll pretty, you can make a big movement through your pelvis on the floor, but you're getting that tactile input too. You're feeling your back lift and lengthen.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Nicolene, did you have something to add?
Yeah. May I? Hi. Yeah, I heard your lesson, but I was still in the car. So
Oh.
I just was 15 minutes too late. I'm sorry. No, I think that it's one step back. I think really extended legs or flex, it doesn't matter, but a lot of people have difficulties in moving. You're talking about hips, but I'm talking about the pelvis.
Uh-huh.
They're in a hollow state of mind and also in their lower back. So it's of course what Kimi was saying, maybe more easy for a client when the legs are extended to feel that you're going backwards with your pelvis. It's the only thing. And if you realize that, then the whole question is much easier. Simply, somebody cannot do the move. He doesn't feel it. So it's.
Oops. Nicolene, your sound is going in and out for some reason.
Oh, I don't know why. Do you hear me or not? Or do
Yes,
you?
we do.
Yes,
And
we hear
then
you.
fade out.
My ears, huh? No, okay. So I think you should go back to first being making somebody aware of the movement of the pelvis, and then going immediately back to this gorgeous lesson working in pathway 1 and 2 with feet. No, that's very clear.
Uh-huh. So how would you make someone aware of the movement of the pelvis?
Well, if you put somebody already in the position that you did, lying on the back with the feet up against the wall, I would simply, let's say, put the hands on the SIAS on the front side, no? And saying, can you breathe out and bring your tailbone towards, very ordinary classic way, bring your tailbone towards the navel, something like that. And then find your tailbone, then it's hollowing up. That's your position. You can easily duiden, how do you say it, explain that is the position that somebody likes, and work from there towards the heel. I'm not sure what to do in that position with the knee then, because it's quite a big step, no, to feel from the ankle towards the pelvis. If you have a hollow back.
So one thing that I do sometimes is just have someone lie on their back with the legs straight and feel the position of the pelvis, and then have them bring their knee to the chest.
Yeah.
So that they feel the other position.
Yeah, you also can do a very simple pelvic clock when the feet are standing. And you simply can say you lie on a clock with your pelvis, and 6 is around your navel and 12 is around your tailbone, and try to see if you can do between 6 and 12, no? And then you really need to flex your knees, because otherwise you're making it already a very challenging movement with extended legs, no? I'm often starting with that. Sorry, Claire. I'm often starting with that as a test movement. To simply see, do they know that the pelvis can move, and then we can do something else. Because if that is not the case, or somebody has very short hamstrings, then it's very difficult to get lessons from the extremities, the hands of the feet, to start with.
Okay.
But it was very nice. Which seminar was this, Dee?
Wall walking.
That we worked with the ankle. I forgot it.
I think, well, we did, I think it was around seminar, it was in June, maybe. So that would have been seminar 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think. The one thing I want to say, and then I want to hear what you have to say, Claire, what I used to do a lot, because I had a lot of people as a home health therapist that disconnect from the body that we've talked about, I would actually say, give me your hand, put your hands on my hips. And they would be like, wow, like, because they weren't aware. And I would say,
It's pelvis.
Right. And put your hand on my lower belly and your hand on my chest, and tell me what you feel when I do this. And people could tell me. And then I would say, well, that's what we're working for towards you. And I think sometimes if somebody has an idea, like if you're in a sport and you're trying to improve and you know what you're going for, it can make it a little clearer when you don't have that internal feedback of how your body's moving and things like that. But that was just something I used, and it had nothing to do with CMI. But so I did find it helpful.
You let them put their hands on your body and you show them the way.
Right. I would say, tell me what you feel.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's too intimate for me. I would say somebody has to become aware for himself. That's the whole point. So let them put the hands on his own body.
But that's like saying to me, giving me a golf club and saying, go hit a golf ball. I don't know crap about hitting a golf ball.
You can put your hands on the hands of this person.
I know, but what you have to understand is, as an occupational therapist, we get in a very intimate position with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we very quickly, I've had people cry when I leave because I'm part of the family. I'm doing things to give this person back their life. So putting their hands on me, and you can always ask. It's not like I said, give me your hand. I'd be like, hey, why don't you put your hands on me?
That's a personal approach. But if you would give lessons in the CMI, I wouldn't do it that way. That's the only thing
Well,
I'm saying. Yeah.
right. But if I do lessons, it's probably going to be a group lesson where I walk around and put my hands on people to help.
Yeah.
Little-
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Then you put your hand on their body. That's a big
I,
difference.
I think it must be an individual
Right.
preference
Yeah.
because I let people put their hands on my body a lot
Mm.
because otherwise they don't understand what they're to do. Like if you have people put their hands on my scapulas, so feel how they move in and out.
Yeah.
They say, "Wow, I never knew they did that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I put my hands on them and help them move their scapulas in the same way.
Yeah.
This idea of having a clear goal, December, you mean, and your body maybe is helpful for the people to have a clear goal. Sometimes I remember myself like questioning me, what is a right way of doing? Is that kind solving that kind of uncertainty around how the body moves.
Right.
Sometimes we have that question. So it should be. So I guess yes, it's a
And
good point.
I think it depends on the person. And as Kimi said, your own personal style, what you are comfortable with. And always, if someone says, what is the right way? What I have said is, there is no right way. It's your body. This is how my body moves. Your body
No,
may
I
not
know,
move like
but
that.
in the other hand, we also have to. It would be great to provide clear goals. No,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Can I say something? Because I had
Please, so sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
no, I had a hernia and it took me 1 year to walk. I would cry because I didn't know how to walk anymore. You know, really, I couldn't walk. I didn't know how to do it. So that's where what Alfo is saying. If I wish then, because I had a lot of therapy with tons of exercise to do a day, like I was doing it for 3 hours, just exercises. But if I had a clear idea of what's happening in my pelvis, I got it only when an osteopath told me you have to walk like a samurai. Big steps in parallel. And then I started feeling this in my pelvis, which is hard with small steps. So I like what we did with on the door. It's very nice to understand really deeply what's happening. But in terms of action, I think after we need straight legs with a more restricted, you cannot move the pelvis as much with straight legs, and then making bigger step. Then you start feeling this. So, I mean, it's always where do you want to take it from and what is the problem of the patient. But if someone cannot walk, it wouldn't be the same as someone who has pain somewhere, or you see what I mean? It depends
Absolutely.
who you are treating and where you start and everything.
And I think too, with us, we have that minimally. It's insulting to say basic, but we get CMI, right? We're not as skilled as Kimi and Debbie, but we took the class. We have 50 plus hours for some of us,
Yeah.
right? And we know the concepts. And as you say, it depends on who you're doing the lesson with, what their issues are. And I think in a group lesson, when you teach a group class, you get to know your client's abilities and limitations so you can plan, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that, Deb? Like, if you do a group class, you know who can do what, you know how they were last time you saw them, you see them walk in, you make little mini assessments, and you might have said, I'm going to do wall walking, but then, hey, let's try this instead. Let's do it flat on the back, or let's do pathways 3 and 4 and sitting. So it's all subjective and includes your clinical judgment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also that I think most people they confuse core exercise movements, which is to stabilize the pelvis or to strengthen your core or your back or your shoulders or feet or whatever, but to work on stability. And then they confuse this with, that's what I confused too when I was coming back from the hernia, because I did a lot of stabilization, but then you also need the movement. So it's people have to be informed about this. Yeah. Or am I saying something that's totally obvious to? Yeah.
No, absolutely. Very valid. And I think Katerina has a raised hand. I see on the screen. Katerina, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I thought it might be useful to say for people who I couldn't walk for a year, so I stayed downstairs in a room that had very low ceiling. So I learned to walk with my hands on the ceiling. And then, so that's something we could offer people, make something like that.
Whoa. You have to find a room like that.
So,
right.
so you taught yourself by putting your hands on the ceiling. And did you ever put your feet on the ceiling?
No. There was a floor for the feet, but I think I wouldn't reach unless I was on lots of boxes.
Yeah,
Because
because you can reach up higher with your hands than you can with your legs.
yeah, I could try.
So you were standing up with your hands on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I thought you were lying down with your hands up on the ceiling. Then you could lie down and put your feet up on the ceiling.
Well, thank you all for the feedback and the kind words. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing your lesson with us.
Love the walking on the wall. Thank you.
Because we did floating leg and sitting. I remember that very clearly. And when we did the walking, I think that was in June too with the poles.
Mhm.
Did we bring I don't know that we called it the floating leg at that point because we were actively engaged in walking. So I guess if you're walking, right, if you're in the activity of walking, technically you do have a floating leg, but it's like microseconds and it's engaged. It's getting ready. It's not just lifting because there's no weight on it. Okay.
I guess we can repeat next time, December, 30 minutes. I'm sure you will come with new things around this. After
I'd love to try it with the abdominal access points too.
The hollows.
Yeah, because I think with the hollows, we can get also into what's happening in the pelvic floor, but I'm not sure. I'd like to try that out. So we can get to the next floor.
Because actually, I do remember that with the hollows, you can actually make that leg lift.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
What is a hollow?
It's that if you're super skinny, it's that place like right there where there's like a little indentation.
Right. It's on the outer edge of the rectus abdominis.
Of the abdominis. The abdominis. Okay.
There's a little place about even with your ASISs where you can actually reach through and be in contact with your transversus abdominis.
Okay.
It's cool. It's cool.
And you can press there, and it's going to put you into posterior tilt.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I have to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for
You
coming.
too.
Everybody,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good to see everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
please. Take care.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.